Guys, it's your boy Squints here with another episode of A Man and His podcast. We are back from technical difficulties. I am here with AJ Francis, and he has something very special to say about this upcoming Friday. Hit him with it.
Yeah, this Friday it's me versus Nick Nemeth at Final Resolution live on the TNA Plus app for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. It's not technically a heavyweight title; they just call it the TNA World Title. But I'm the heavyweight that's going to make heavyweights great again. We used to run this industry, um, you know, and now the industry's run by little boys in little pants, and we need to make heavyweights great again, and that's what I'm here to do. I It's a really a full circle moment for me because uh, you know when I used to watch wrestling a lot as a kid, I watched it every single episode of Raw. I used to watch every single episode of SmackDown, and then once I got older, I got into high school. I discovered girls, something that a lot of wrestling fans never discover. Um, and I was busy with women and playing football and other activities. And so I stopped really watching wrestling from like 2005 to like 2010. Um, and when I got back into wrestling, I was an adult, and in about 2000, late 2010, early 2011, and the very first piece of merch that I bought as an adult was the pink Dolph Ziggler show off shirt. Um, so for me to, now get my first world title match against Nick Nemeth in TNA, it's really a big full circle moment for me. He's one of the best of our generation. Well, not my generation. He's a generation older than me. He's washed up, but in my generation, I'm the best of my generation. But he's one of the best of his generation. So it's an honor to be able to take the world title from him.
I was gonna say, how does it feel getting to be able to wrestle with someone that was a generation before you? Like, is it a surreal moment?
He's gonna love that. It is. It is a surreal moment because, like I said, I was a big Dolph Ziggler fan. I missed the whole, Spirit Squad days. I missed that. I didn't see any of that. I had to go back and watch that. So, that took a little luster off my affinity for Dolph Ziggler at the time. But my respect for him in this industry, he's one of the best to do it. And the fact that I personally have been a fan of his for a long time, but I've been a fan of a lot of guys in this industry, and that doesn't make them better than me. So the fact that I'm 6 years into my wrestling career, my NFL career was 6 years. So at the end of 6 years in my NFL career, I was done playing football. At the end of my 6 year in my wrestling career, I'm just getting started. I'm getting my first world title match, first of many. And it's a great feeling to be in this position, to be given the opportunity to, do this and be in that position with someone like Nick Nemeth.
So, how do you train differently for any other match compared to a real title match? Do you change your training, or do you just go in there and you do the same thing you do for every other match?
Nah, nah, I don't change my training at all. Rule number one, my dad told me this a long time ago: dance with the girl that brought you to the dance. Don't change it up when you get there. When you get to the dance, dance with the girl that brought you. I got myself here with the preparations I've been making over the last year. A year ago, me and Joe Hendry had this conversation yesterday. A year ago, me and Joe Hendry were afterthoughts. I was a walking like a laughing stock, and Joe Hendry was just a comedy show, a comedy big guy. And a year later, because of our feud and everything that we've done over the past year, we're two of the top, if not the top two guys in TNA. So like we've went out of our way to show how good we actually are. And I've proven over the last year that I am the best heel in the business. And people get mad when I say that, but honestly, I don't give a shit. I don't care if people get mad at me when I say that because, they don't get mad when Matt Cardona says it, or they don't get mad when MJF says it. They don't get mad when Mance Warner says it. So what's the difference between me and them? I think we all know the answer. So it's like, the thing is like I know that I'm the best heel in this business. There's nobody that can talk with me. There's nobody that garners the reactions that I do, other than maybe Dominic Mysterio. And Dominic Mysterio is a great, great, great heel. A very good friend. But at the end of the day, like, I believe in me. Like a year ago, nobody thought that I would be in this position. A year ago, people thought I wouldn't wrestle ever again. You know, people thought that it was my wrestling career was over once I got released from WWE. But little do they know that that was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I've proven it over the last year.
Absolutely. So after this Friday against Nick Nemeth, do you have your eyes on anyone else, or are you just set on Nick Nemeth and you're not worried about what comes after
No,
that?
I'm not. I don't give a shit about nothing that comes after this. I'm set on being the TNA World Champion, taking the TNA World Title places it's never been, like the Super Bowl Media Row. I did that last year and was showing love to TNA on the Pat McAfee show. Last week I was on ESPN and TMZ. I'm gonna be on TMZ again this week. This in the past year I've done Fox, ABC, CBS, NBC, NFL Network. FanDuel TV, the list goes on and on. I'm again hosting as the Cheez It champion, the Cheez It Citrus Bowl again in Orlando. I'm a two-time Cheez It champion now, and that's another big, huge media event, New Year's Eve, South Carolina versus Illinois. I'm getting an opportunity to do something that nobody else in wrestling gets to do because nobody else in wrestling is me. And I want to take the TNA World Title places it's never been before because I'm different than everyone who's ever worn it before.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before I ask this next question, I am going to remind the chat that we are live, and if you have any questions, you can leave them down. My next question, though, is you mentioned your time playing football. What are the biggest similarities and the biggest differences with playing professional football and transferring over to professional wrestling?
You got to be able to. First of all, you got to be a tough motherfucker, man. Like you got to be. You can't be soft and be a football player, you'll get killed. And I don't mean how people use killed like, oh man, you're gonna get killed. I mean, if you go out on a football field and you're soft, you might literally die. So you can't be soft and you got to be able to push through the pain. And wrestling is a lot like that, man. I mean, if you had a shit like this week, I got Heels Have Eyes 4 West Side Guns show on Thursday in the same venue that I'm doing the world title match on Friday. Whatever happens to me in that match on Thursday, whatever aches and pains I take from that match on Thursday is still going to be with me on Friday. So, and I'm going to have to push through it and I'm going to have to go and perform to the best of my abilities no matter what. And then after that, I'm going to have, another match on maybe two matches on Saturday at the TNA tapings, so it's like you got to be able to push through pain. You got to be able to be tough. You can't just like go, phone it in. You got to be able to perform every day, no matter what. Um, Wrestling's a little bit less, believe it or not, cutthroat than the NFL. In terms of like, if you have one bad day on a football field, you might be cut the next day. You know, um, that usually doesn't happen in wrestling unless you get involved in some controversy or something like that. But just like if you have a bad match, usually you're not fired the next day. Um, so that's one thing that's different. But you got to be able to perform, man, and it's about winning the crowd. From Gladiator, win the crowd, win your freedom. Like there's a lot of guys. I'll give you a perfect example in the NFL. Richard Sherman, I played with him. He's a friend of mine. Um, Brent Grimes, I played with him. He's a friend of mine. If you watch the tape, Brent Grimes is arguably a better defensive back than Richard Sherman. But Richard Sherman won the crowd. He was loud in his interviews and boisterous, and he would talk a lot of shit, and he would win the Super Bowl and back it up. So, like, people like attribute him to being like the best corner of his generation, and he has an argument for it. But if you watch the actual tape and see the actual footage of what's being put on film, I think Brent Grimes is the best corner of my generation. But it's all about winning the crowd and winning your freedom. So that's another big one. There's a lot of guys that, like look at Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry didn't become a better wrestler in the last year. He didn't become a better songwriter in the last year. His song didn't become more catchy in the last year than it was the previous 5 that he used it. But he won the crowd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely. And then these next 2 questions are questions that I ask every guest. The first one being, how familiar are you with the show Jersey Shore before I ask it?
I mean, I saw it when it was on.
If you could choose any cast member to tag team with for one match, who would it be and why? And let's say they all have full professional wrestling training.
Um, Probably Paulie because I like him the most. Um, and he's smaller, so he can take the bumps for me. I don't think Ronnie wants to be a big bump guy. And I'm just not gonna go with the mixed tag route. Even though Snooki does have more WrestleMania matches than I do. I don't. Perfect example of I don't think that makes her a better wrestler than me. Uh, but she does have more WrestleMania matches than a lot of people do. So if that's how you attribute success in wrestling, she's a better wrestler than a lot of people. Yeah, I would definitely say Paulie for sure.
All right, all right. And then this final question, I ask every guest this. If you could give any piece of advice to the audience, what would it be? And it doesn't have to be to professional wrestling, just life in general.
Believe in yourself. Nobody cares about you like you do. A year ago, if I would have listened to what people thought about me, I'd have probably killed myself. I would have considered myself a failure. I would have thought that I didn't have any value on this earth because of how I was treated towards the last, 9 months of my run in WWE, how I was made into a laughing stock and a joke. And how I was just then discarded like I didn't matter. And if I listen to the people in my comments, or I listen to the people that had no faith in me, then I wouldn't be here. But I always believe in myself. From day one, I knew that this was going to happen. This run in TNA was going to happen when I got to TNA last year because I knew my own ability and I knew what I could do when I was actually given an opportunity to do it. My first day in TNA, I cut a minute and a half promo, and that's longer than all the promos I ever cut in WWE combined. So, like now I'm known what now it's like you go look at what people say about it. It's like I'm the best promo in TNA. I know I'm the best promo in wrestling, period. And there's nobody that can promo with me. Nobody in this business can promo with me. And if they got a problem with me, you can say it and we can go back and forth if you really want to do that, but you'll get fucking embarrassed. Right. So like I know I'm the best. So like I take that with a badge of honor. But a year ago, you would think that I was a scrub. You know what I'm saying? So I believe in me. Believe in yourself. Nobody else is going to water your plant for you. See, they threw dirt on me and flowers grew because I watered my own plant. You see what I'm saying? Believe in yourself.
Absolutely. And then before we wrap this up, is there anything you want to plug, like upcoming shows, merch, stuff to that nature?
Yeah, you can follow me on all. Oh, kick the hell out of my camera. You can follow me on all social media at AJ Francis 410. Yeah, man, just tune into the TNA Plus app Friday night. It's a great card. Final Resolution, the last pay per view of the year for TNA. You're gonna have a brand new TNA World Champion, the World Champion that you deserve, TNAJ Francis. We're gonna make heavyweights great again. We're doing it. We're making heavyweights great again.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. As always, you can leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down, 1 star, 5 stars, like, comment, subscribe if you like. If not, I don't give a shit. That's going to do it. In peace.